Alright, this is Old Gaming Guru. I'm here today and I'm playing a little bit of Path of Exile. I just want to show you my level 90 Titan Leap Slam Sunder build. This is just a follow-up to my previous videos. I have gotten him to the point where he is massively tanky and he can take down most tier 15s. I've gone so far as to have 6 modifiers, boss, and three levels of delirium, and he actually survives these really well without having to spam my health potions very often. So first I'm going to go ahead and jump in just a quick map, and then I'm going to show you how the build plays, and then I want to go ahead and discuss with you how I made him so tanky. Alright, so first thing is I'm just going to jump in a map here. So let's grab this one, and this is only a 4 modifier map, and the key thing here is I'm going to show you he's tanky, but he also too wipes out huge packs of mobs, and the only negative modifier on this is monsters have 76% extra health. So I tried to pick a map I could do really quickly because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. This is just for you to get a feel of how tanky he is and how much damage he's doing. I have not found a hammer under 15 Divine that I can use to improve right now. My DPS right now on my hammer is 736. What it's lacking is +2 melee skills. It's right now I'm just not getting lucky. I had a +6 weapon and bricked the living daylights out of it, so much so that it no longer had a +6, so it was pretty much worthless because this one is best in slot if you don't have the +6. I'm now looking to find one that also gives me +6. Let me show you that hammer really quick before we start going into this. As you can see here, it's not perfect by any means, but the DPS on it's excellent. And let me just show you the DPS. 778.7 DPS. Okay, so that's a lot of physical damage that's going out the door there, which helps my leech. So that's part of how I stay alive. I've got one item with 5% leech. Alright, so what you're going to see here is huge aftershocks. And the combination of the leap slam and the aftershock kills just about everything. So really solid in terms of damage. And these get screen wide here. I've got extra armor for projectiles. Ooh, yeah, superior stuff. I'm always trying to get. You know, what's funny is I'm always trying to get more stuff to improve the quality of my gear. And I've got an alt I'm going to try that uses energy shield. Okay, 75% plus chaos resist. All resistance is capped and overcapped for elemental weakness. But this does a big chunk of my damage right here. And honestly, what I like about it is it does the one thing for defense that every good build should do, which is it gets those back row mobs, the ones that, you know, hit you with projectiles and spells. It takes them out of the picture because it knocks them back or stuns them. So effectively removing the fight. Alright, this map is paid for itself. You can see here my health bar is barely moving. A combination of leech, my armor, and my block is what's keeping me going here. I'll probably cut some of this out. Come here! Like I said, this is just for you to get a good feel. Okay, and remember, these are plus 76% life mobs and tier 15. So it's not like they're pushovers. And see, what I don't kill on the first one, my aftershock does. And also too, I ignite just about everything I hit. Okay, getting a bunch of garbage here. For some reason I tend to do that. Oop, I want that. Okay. Yeah, so one of the things that's really kind of driving me nuts about PoE right now is, you know, why do they make tier 15 maps? I've got all the map modifiers on my tree. Why do I constantly get 1, 2s, and 3 tier maps? And a lot of times, no tier 15s. So I've got tier 12. Okay, nice. So map sustaining the game is a lot more difficult than it really needs to be. Okay, you see these magic users, boom. Okay, that was a good hit. Okay, that's the toughest I've faced so far. I mean, this guy's strong enough now where I honestly barely even notice. And we'll use the Hammer of the Gods here to take care of those guys. I barely even notice now rares. I'm like, oh hey, why's that guy not going down? So he's got enough damage. He strikes from a distance. It's really hard to hit. Okay, there's the first major drop in health I've had since we've been doing this run. Okay, I'm gonna cut now until I get to another boss mob, another rare. Got another rare here, not a boss, excuse me.
You were no warrior.
And by the way, if you get lucky, and Sunder can be used against distant mobs, if you don't think it's safe to go in and attack them, so you soften them up with Sunder first, like this, and then leap in. So if you see a bunch of things you're not really sure of, great defensive technique is to use Sunder, which does more damage, then follow it up with Leap Slam. And I've got my Sunder slotted so that it actually does more damage the farther it travels. So, you know, you don't have to leap into everything, and if you've got, like, you know, a boss that basically you know is going to blow up on you after he dies, just Sunder him down.
Come here!
But that's it. This is just a really simple build. It uses 2 strikes primarily, and for boss killing, it's got Hammer of the Gods, which is just amazing. I think it right now is doing some huge DPS for me, over 100,000. So, and I have not got everything maxed out in terms of support gems. I've got the means to, I just haven't done it yet. But that's that map, and they go pretty quickly. So most of my maps take 5 to 10 minutes when I'm not yakking. All right, so let's get out of here. Let me show you what I did in this build. Okay, once we get back to the hideout, I'm just going to go ahead and give you my keynotes here for defense. Offense, honestly, the best thing you can do is get as high a DPS hammer as you can get. Mine actually only cost me two exalts, and then I just crafted it, and I got lucky with a couple rolls for the first time ever. I spent more on my armor. So let's look there at what I've got and what I'm wearing. Okay, the hammer you saw, 776 DPS. Basically, I spent my 2 divines on this character here and got a decent piece of armor for 2100 armor. All the rest of the stuff is self-found. I did buy my belt, and I got lucky with the boots. Block chance. You've got to get big block chance and bigger armor on your shield. Buy it if you have to. Also, all your pieces of gear need to have strength on it, or you have to have the 35% reduced attributes requirements if you want to use a 2-handed weapon single-handedly and get decent damage out of it. So that then takes down the strength requirement, because this guy requires for this is about 520 strength, and I have nowhere near that. But I added in all this armor and then capped out my resistances, added strength where I could. This is the one piece of gear I've not been able to replace, and it's still very decent with a ton of life. And so almost all my other gear, though, what I was looking for was strength, resistances, and life. And this just happened to be, I mean, it doesn't have much life, but it had +1 to all melee skills, and that's my only plus right now. If I got both the hammer at 6 and my gloves at +1, I could have +8, which would just blow my damage through the roof and would make this even look easier. But like I said, this right here is 15 divines, and I'm not ready to start farming divines like crazy yet. I am, but 15 divines is a lot of divines, and they seem to actually, what's odd, drop in lower levels. Okay, so there's my gear. Obviously, since I'm using life for mana, I only have to have a life flask. Okay, so I took this one with more life recovered and charges gained, so it keeps this thing pretty much topped off at all times. Alright, so as far as what my character looks like, here we go. Strength 448. You see, without that 35% reduction in requirements on my hammer, I wouldn't be able to use it. I've got decent life. I'm missing life on a couple pieces of gear. I'm near 80% on armor. I've just dropped down a percentage point. I may pick up a node and cover that. No evasion, 75% block. This right here is the winner. So this is my defense against most things. So if it hits me, 75% of the time it's blocked, and then my armor usually takes care of the rest of it. My armor is also increased against projectiles. You can see here everything's capped, except for chaos, which is not overcapped. So it's all overcapped except for chaos. And then let's look at my DPS. Okay, Sunder, 37,000. There's stuff I'm not even using here. 114 for Hammer of the Gods, which is not godlike, but you know, with +8, I'm sure it would be a lot more. And my Leap Slam is doing 22,000 per hit. So that pretty much then tells you why this build is clearing mobs as fast as it is. It could be a lot faster if I had +8 to melee skills. Alright, let's look at my tree. Okay, so when I first came out here, I picked up melee damage, and then I grabbed this from equipped increased armor fairly early, and then went on and grabbed more armor in the block down here. Okay, so there's the first source of my block. But when I first came out, I ran over here, I ignored all the block, and basically was looking for damage. So I wanted to get to this anchor right here. I added this later. I added this early. And this was my main path, but I picked up these 2 additional damage nodes. Ran down here. This came really late. I got this after I got my 4th Ascendancy, which, by the way, I went ahead and bought. I don't know what it is with GGG and wanting to make getting your Ascendancy so tough, but I don't have 2 hours to sit in one session and play a game. So I basically cheated and went ahead and bought mine. I got a Lucky Divine, converted it into Exalts, and bought a run from somebody. Okay, so then when I came down here, here's more block. I had to have all these strengths so I could use the 2-handed weapon one-handed. Okay, then I ran up here, picked up all these damage nodes. Later on, I picked up more resistances and +1 to maximum. And then Blood Magic was early on. So that was my early take. That was an early take. Resolute Technique, so you never deal critical hits, but you always hit. Okay, so then I grabbed these for extra area and extra damage. This one right here, Projectile Bulwark, is absolutely amazing. I found that I was getting hit a lot by projectiles, and they were doing some serious damage and bleed. This really stopped a lot of it, plus gave me a lot of additional armor. Okay, so then more damage over here. That went fairly late, like after level 60. This was after 60. Remember, it's tied to me getting my 4th Ascendancy. This was early. This also here too, another critical one to have, Blade Catcher. I got this one in my mid-40s when I started picking up strength. 200% armor against critical hits, plus it gives you strength. Alright, so then mid 60s, I went down and picked up all this extra area of attack, plus the additional strength nodes. And this last area down here, Giant's Blood, I picked up in the mid 40s. I went on to get the strength and also the additional chance for aftershock. So what makes this build work is the aftershock stuns your enemies when you leap and kills ones that are on low health. Okay, so the first hit doesn't always kill them, but the aftershock usually does when they have high health, like this last map. So make sure you pick up this node. But it's all this block and additional armor that I added in the tree that took me to nearly 80% armor, and it took me to 75% block, picking up all these block nodes. Plus, I had to get a shield that had a high chance to block. So if you want to be tanky, pick these nodes up, okay, for the extra resistances. Pick up your extra armor nodes. Try and get as close to 80% as you can. But definitely make sure you're at 75% block. And if you do that, if you've got the armor at that level and you've got a high chance to block, you're fairly secure in the game as long as your resistances, all four, are capped. You'll get your life and stuff from your tree over here, Mysterious Lineage, and you're going to get a lot of extra benefits from hulking form. And then here is another huge source of aftershocks for slams. So I think altogether I'm like at 60% chance to cause aftershocks on slams, which is pretty good. I think it's as much as you can get. And that pretty much is the build. That's where I'm at right now. What I'm going to do with this guy is basically just farm T15s, tier 16s, until I hit 92, 93, just pick up a couple damage nodes and maybe an armor node. So once I get 93, 94s, I'm going to start doing some more bosses. But that's where I'm at. Hopefully I'll get enough divines eventually, or I'll just get lucky and get my +6 hammer and +1 gloves. And then I'll make another video on this guy. But that's it for today. Old Gaming Guru out.